Hi, I'm Nicole, and this is Brolin. We're a Canadian couple living in Las Vegas, and we're setting sail on the Discovery Princess for the very first time. So grab a drink, some snacks, sit back, relax, and come along with us on our 7-day journey sailing the Mexican Riviera. Everybody, so we just docked in Puerto Vallarta and we have our excursion this morning. We're just walking to the meeting place and we can't wait to take you along.
All right, let's go.
My colleague Bongo will be leading you folks, so exiting the theater. Wish you beautiful day in Vallarta, sunny, nice and pleasant and lovely.
Okay, so we've officially made it onto the catamaran on our way to Las Caletas private beach, so we'll see you when we get there. Hi guys, welcome to beautiful Las Caletas. First impressions are, it is such a vibe. Imagine jungle with rattan lamps. It's so resort-esque. It's beautiful. So as soon as we got on the boat, it was about a 45-minute boat ride. There was entertainment, free drinks. You could also book your snorkeling or massages on the boat as well. And right when you get to the beautiful island, you get a free welcome taco. It looks delicious. And we also have some pineapple and basil water.
Cheers.
Stunning! been a few hours since we arrived to this beautiful private beach. And what have we been up to so far? We've gone swimming in the beach, Brolin went kayaking, we saw an iguana,
Sea lion.
sea lion, there's parrots that fly around here that are so beautiful. What else have we done? We ordered spicy passion fruit margaritas, which are really good.
That was good.
We did a mini photo shoot on the beach, which was nice.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna go snorkeling in a little bit and then have lunch. What are your first impressions?
So far, I love it. It's peaceful. There's plenty of room. It's not too crowded, which is really what we were looking for. And there's a lot of activities that are included in the price. You can do snorkeling, kayaking. There's zip lining for kids as well. I believe you have to be under 15 or 14.
Yeah.
They have to be pretty small. The other thing that I like is that they have a lot of hammocks, which we'll definitely take advantage of eventually. We also have lunch at 1:15, which we're excited for because the introductory taco that we got was really good.
Really good.
So I can't wait to see what they make us for the actual lunch.
So we wanted to talk a little bit about the actual excursion that we're on. So we booked directly with Princess Cruises. We paid about $150 per person. And in that fare, it includes transportation to the actual private island. It includes lunch. It includes an open bar, so unlimited drinks. And it includes some water activities, snorkeling, kayaking, tubing, paddleboarding. Just a note about the snorkeling. It is free if you choose to use snorkel gear that others have used in the past. But Brolin and I are not about that life, so we actually purchased the tubes for an additional $5 each, which was not bad.
If you buy that at a store, it's probably going to be more expensive than that anyway.
Yes.
We spent $10 extra. But overall, it's worth it, especially if you want to drink a lot. That's really where you get your money's worth. But the scenery itself and the private beach itself is, I think, well worth the money. You get an opportunity to get off the cruise ship as well, explore something new. We've never been at this spot before, so it was certainly new and it lived up to what we expected.
Yes. Also, if you're like me and you love aesthetic, beach aesthetic, it is such a vibe here. You can probably see a bit of the jungle behind us, but I love all of the furnishings, the furniture, how it's set up. Everything is just so beautiful.
You can also do other things like take pictures at different spots. They have a photographer on the scene, so to speak, that happily take your photos anywhere you'd like. They'll also give you little tips and tricks on how you can pose and where to pose, but those would be at an additional cost as well.
Yes, so this is an extremely family-friendly excursion. However, if you'd like to do this excursion and you're not a big fan of being around too many kids, well, you're in luck because there's also an adults-only beach section that you can take advantage of.
Yeah.
Back on board. We just left Puerto Vallarta. Sad, we're on the last leg of our trip, but we are about to go to Mexican dining room for our dinner, and after dinner we have a white hot party on the sky deck, so I can't wait to bring you along. Hello everyone! We just got back to our room after dinner and the white Latin party. I'm just gonna put it out there. This cruise is geared towards the older demographic. So there were 2 Latin parties going on. The first one was on deck 16. It was a live band. It was not
okay.
that one was okay, but it was just a lot of line dancing in my opinion. And then we also went to a Latin power hour spun by the DJ at Vista Lounge. And that too was also kind of a disappointment. I guess the only song that I really played was Despacito. And you know, that's just not the vibe anymore. I was waiting for like Daddy Yankee. But anyways, we're here to talk about the Ketchikan dining room and start our scorecard.
Okay, so let's start with the vibe. The vibe, in my opinion, was okay. I'd probably give it a 6.5 or a 7. At least for the table that we were sitting, we were close to where all the staff would work, and on the other side, we had the chef's table where you again have that private dinner that we've talked about in another video. It felt a little crowded, noisy. It's not really our vibe, it's not really my vibe, so for that reason I'm out. But for that reason I'm giving it a 6.5 or a 7 at best.
Yeah, I would give it a 7 out of 10. The dining room was beautiful, but it definitely wasn't as fancy and elegant as the Skagway dining room we went to yesterday. And about the entrance as well. So the entrance of the restaurant isn't in the piazza or anything like that. It's actually on deck 5, right in front of the elevators, and that's why there's a huge crowd there all of the time. So that was a little unsettling. But I mean, it's an average dining room, nothing special. It wasn't horrible, so a 7 out of 10.
What about for the presentation?
The presentation, I would give an 8 out of 10.
Really?
I mean, the food was presented beautifully. There was a lack of detail in some parts, so there was spillage, I call it, on some of the plates that were clearly not wiped off.
And only my plates. That's why I think you're giving it a higher rating. Because all my plates just looked worse than yours. But continue.
Yeah, so I got the rack of lamb as my main. It was presented beautifully. Again, there were just a few little splotches that needed to be wiped off, but it was okay. So 7, average.
I would have given it a 7 too. It felt a little bit rushed, and again, I guarantee it's only because they're so busy and they have so many people coming in during the dinner hours. It is a little bit rushed. You can tell the plates were really hot, so they had just been prepared. But yeah, the presentation isn't anything extraordinary. It's probably average at best.
And next up we have the taste. So the taste I'm gonna give an 8 out of 10 because it was much better than what I had yesterday at the Skagway dining room. It had salt this time. It was properly seasoned. The only thing is for my lamb dish, I asked the waiter to have it prepared rare because I always love my meats rare, and he was kind of taken aback and he recommended that I get medium rare, so I agreed because I don't have lamb often, so I thought, okay, fine, medium rare was probably better. But when it came out, it was slightly under well done, so I actually didn't even end up finishing my dish because I cannot eat meat that is almost well done. It's very chewy and not pleasant.
I agree with the taste. I would give it probably an 8.75, only because I gave the last one an 8.5 and this was definitely better, but it wasn't a 9 exactly. It was a lot better than I expected just based off the presentation alone and just the whole vibe that we were getting from the restaurant, but it turned out to be really good, especially the beef Wellington. The last one that I had was at Hell's Kitchen in Las Vegas, which obviously it wasn't as good as that, but it was still pretty good. So a little bit better than the restaurant we went to last night, but not anything better than what I had hoped.
Oh, also special mention to the dessert that we had. The cheesecake, we had a chocolate cheesecake, which was incredible, and also French vanilla creme brulee, which was also very, very good.
Both were really good.
So the desserts were definitely up there, but the main courses were a little underwhelming in my opinion.
So that's a good segue into the service. Because the reason we got those desserts, those are recommendations from the server, June. So we had originally asked him for his recommendations. He said get the cheesecake and the creme brulee. We said sure, we'll get those two. Then he really pushed us to both get cheesecakes and get the creme brulee to share, which I thought he was joking, but he ended up actually bringing 3 plates out, and it was only then that we realized he wasn't joking. So in terms of the service, I thought it was great. I like that he shared his thoughts for the dessert, and it turned out to be great.
So what's your rating?
Probably give them an 8.5 overall. 8.5. It was a little slow in the beginning, and that's similar to the experience we had with the last restaurant. So that's a little bit of a letdown, but the service itself, once we actually got the food and, you know, small things like getting my water refilled, which I really needed, especially after all the sun that we got today, it picked up, definitely, in my opinion.
Okay, so if you give it an 8.5, I think I'm gonna give it an 8. So the first thing is, this is kind of a trend in their dining rooms because it's always so busy during the dinner rush, is you get seated and there's about 15 to 20 minutes where no one is serving you. So you're just looking around, you're just browsing the menu. The bread came out maybe after 10 minutes.
Took a while.
It took a while, and also our first water fill took a while. But the only reason why I'm docking off half a point was because I was missing a fork. And our appetizers came out and I couldn't eat it because I didn't have a fork, and it took a good maybe 10-15 minutes for him to get me a fork. So by the time I got to eat my appetizer, it wasn't as fresh. So that would be the only reason. But apart from that, he was great. I love that he gave us 3 desserts. No complaints there. So overall rating, I did have a slightly better experience today than I did in yesterday's dining room. So yesterday I gave Skagway a 7.5 out of 10. So I'm gonna give Ketchikan a 7.75 out of 10.
Okay, copying.
Slightly higher.
Copying my metrics. Well, I forgot what I gave the last restaurant yesterday, but I'll probably give this an 8 as well. Simply for the reason that the vibe wasn't as good as the last restaurant, but the food tasted better, and I would weigh that more heavily than the vibe. One last note about these restaurants: we would highly recommend that you reserve or make reservations at one of the restaurants that you have to pay for. They cost $35 a person, but if you budget and really go into the experience, to the cruise, knowing that you're going to go to these restaurants, we think you'll have a lot of a better time, food, vibe, service, and just overall experience at those restaurants rather than the free ones. Sure, if you're looking for a quick bite and don't really care about the food and you're just looking to get some calories in, just looking forward to the next day, these would be the perfect option, as would the buffet. But if you're looking for a more special experience, especially if you have a special occasion, an anniversary or a birthday, we would highly recommend that you go to one of the not included restaurants instead. You'll have a lot of a better time there than you would at these restaurants. Are we going to do one of those tomorrow?
Yes, we are. We are finally going to Bistro sur la Mer, I think it's called. It is their French restaurant on the ship, and I'm super excited.
It looks really nice from the outside.
It's very beautiful, and it's also located near the piazza, which we love. Similar to the sushi place, so we're
which is
very
right
excited.
across.
Yes.
So maybe we'll go there Friday.
I would go there again.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.